The session would be moderated by Mr. Feroz Khan, Partner and Head, Digital and Emerging Technologies, KPMG India. Over to you, Mr. Khan.
Thanks, Kavita. And let me start it off. I hope my fellow panel members are there and have already joined in. So let's kickstart this panel discussion. So today's panel discussion is very interesting panel discussion, and in fact, I'll say that this is very close to my heart because this talks about MSMEs, and this is a segment which contributes a lot to I'll say India economy and GDP, but still there's a lot of discussion which happens at a core big enterprise level, and an MSMEs is a sector wherein not much of the focus goes in terms of the technology and digital, and that's why I feel like that this is the right discussion which we are going to have today. And with me I have six fellow panel members with me, and let me first of all introduce them so that the audience should know that yes, they are going to hear from whom all. So we have Samrendra Kumar, and I know Samrendra very well. In fact, people do call him Sam. And Samrendra is a co-founder and MD of Midcat Advisory. Then we have Jaspreet Bindra, and Jaspreet does not need any intro. So he is an author of Tech Whisperer, and he is one of the stalwart and thought leader in terms of digital. He has been a former CDO for Mahindra Group. Then we have, Shrikant Kasala. Shrikant is CEO and director for Eliscription, which is one of the healthcare, group of companies. So we will hear his perspective also. Then we have Neeraj Shukla. Neeraj Shukla is the founder and CEO for MN World Enterprise. Along with Neeraj, we have other two fellow, panel members. We have Avinash Singh Visen, who is the CEO of DCJ Group. And last but not the least, we have Neeraj Hans, who is the CEO of Sandhar Automotive. So welcome, to my fellow panel members. And those of you who don't know me, my name is Feroz, and I am a partner and head of digital, advisory and emerging tech with KPMG India. So let me kickstart, this session. And while I kickstart this session, if we talk about today's topic, which is also very interesting. So when we talk about topic, it's primarily how do we really leverage digital transformation to identify business opportunities in MSMEs. And again, I'm stressing upon this word MSMEs. Why? Because in this COVID era, wherein everything has changed, the operating model has changed, the new normal has changed. So we want to really leverage upon and want to learn and hear from these stalwarts that what is it which has changed, and then how is it that they have leveraged the digital transformation. And then before that, let me set the context. In fact, when we say digital transformation, and that too, for MSMEs, again, we have to understand one thing, that MSME has been a backbone for our economy. No matter we talk about whatever sector, no matter we talk about financial, we talk about industrial, automotives, but yes, this has been one of the backbone of Indian economy. And having said that, see, over a period of time, MSMEs has seen a lot of changes, and these changes obviously bring some of the challenges along with it. And to name few, we have seen what was the disruption which came at the GST regime, and also yes, there are challenges, but then opportunities and challenges goes hand in hand. That's one. Second is this, India government is also doing a lot to promote digital within MSME, and there was a scheme which came up in 2017, which was primarily to bolster the MSME's digital adoption. So that was also one of the things which really brought in some superpower to MSMEs. And the other thing which we have to understand is this, that when we talk about digital transformation, it's not only for the big enterprise. This is one of the lever which fundamentally change the way we operate. And when we say change the way we operate, it is also applicable for the small and medium enterprise. That how do we really deliver value to the customer? Because delivering value to the customer in the form of the product or in the form of the services is the real meat of the digital transformation. And this can only happen when we use emerging technology, when we use right processes, when we use right operating model, skills. So it's a combination of all of this. So it's not like it's only a technology. So let's not think about like digital coming in, it's a one switch which can solve all problem. No, it doesn't happens like this. The other thing which I want to highlight today is when we see this COVID-19 pandemic, which last couple of months, we have seen that there's a paradigm shift which has come in various organizations and various sectors, if we talk about, and thus even MSMEs also has undergone some changes, which we will definitely hear from the people or the panel members today. And when it comes to things like what are the starting challenges, if we say, or what are the starting positions of the MSME digital transformation. So we will see that no matter whatever we talk about, no matter we talk about business related thing, like for example, how do we really increase our EBITDA margin, how do we increase our revenue, no matter we talk about customers, so how to increase customer base, how to increase more and more loyalty, how to increase more and more personalization. We talk about productivity, so cost is one of the factors, that how do we really reduce the cost. We talk about the operating model, so people related. So no matter whatever problem statement we talk about, which is applicable for MSMEs also, yes, there are digital levers, yes, there are emerging tech levers which really solve that problem. And to name such few of it, like when we talk about any digital innovation, think about the disruption which it brings to that business model, and then how do we really leverage that. Take an example of technology. So how is it which an enterprise architecture or an emerging tech can really solve the problem? Let's take an example of data and AI. So data is a new ocean. So data analytics, artificial intelligence, this really helps solve some of the business problems. And then obviously the underlying operating model, like how do we define the new ways of working? How do we define the cross collaboration ways of working, the agile and DevOps ways of working? So these are some of the levers which really solve the business problem. And it's important to say that it's not only for the big enterprise, but even when it comes to the small and medium also, these have been useful. So with this, let me start this discussion, and let's hear from the horse's mouth that what is it which these MSMEs in their own field they have done, so that the audience really takes value of it and will leverage upon their expertise. So let me start with Sam. Sam, I'm sure you are there because I cannot see your picture. So yeah, here's there. Yeah, Sam is there. So let's start with Samrendra, who is a founder, co-founder and MD of MidCat. And Sam, one thing I think you will agree with me is there's a saying that every crisis you talk about, there's an opportunity which comes. So which means that when there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. Both goes hand in hand. Now, can you share your experience from your past learning, and specifically during the COVID times, which is last 6-7 months? That what are the opportunities which has emerged from this situation, and then what advice do you want to give to your other friends or colleagues in MSME so that they tackle their problems? So why don't you share your expertise or our experience so that the audience really takes value out of it? Yeah, Sam.
Mr. Sam, you're in mute, I believe.
I think you are speaking on mute.
Yeah. So Feroz, very good afternoon to you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So good afternoon, Feroz and esteemed panelists. So first, a disclaimer: I'm no expert, so I'll share my 2 penny bit of learning. Okay. So big thank you to CIA Center for Digital Transformation for the kind invite, and indeed honored to share, with such esteemed co-panelists. So yes, indeed, every crisis is an opportunity. And let me take few examples straight from history. So what happens is when World War I happened, before that, the role of women was largely confined to homes. So women were in homes and men used to work outside, save 1 or 2 professions like nursing and all. But when a lot of men went into battle and many people died and got wounded, and also there was a big shortage of workers. So women started joining the workforce during World War I. Now, this trend got accentuated during World War II, which was a bigger scale war and more spread and more requirement of workers, to produce goods and things to support the war efforts. So more women joined. So from a reluctant entry of women, and then this debate went on for a long time. Now women constitute 40% in most major economies of the world, and we're talking about 50% women workforce. So that's how trends start with accidents and crisis, and then they intensify over a period of time. So nothing can stop a good idea whose time has come, and usually crisis is the time. Let me take closer in this 21st century. When SARS struck at the beginning of the century, it's in our lifetime, it's in our working time. 20 years back, about 17, 18 years back, SARS struck China. And so Wuhan virus is not the first one from China. Many have come from there. So when SARS struck China, a company called Alibaba started. People were reluctant to go to markets and other things. So company called Alibaba started, capitalizing on mix of its own knowledge. It's the great technological developments which are happening, started distributing, started sending packages home to people. And that was the beginning of e-commerce boom in China. And China became a major driver of the e-commerce boom across the world. And of course, everybody has now heard of the Alibaba story. I was listening to Mr. Jayesh Parekh, who is the founder of Sony Entertainment Television and very legendary entrepreneur. So he was doing a session on entrepreneurship. And he says many great startups are born during actually crisis times, and then they flourish during peak times. And he gave examples from Google, which started gaining traction at the .com when the .com bubble burst, and then actually gained traction later, to Uber when during post-financial crisis, people didn't want to, shell out a lot of money for commutes, so they wanted to share. So lots and lots of many of these great ideas start during things, and many companies take a leap during this time. We've seen Byju's, Zoom share prices already. Zoom is close to $140 billion, becoming bigger than IBM and all. So fast forward to March 2020. So let's take my own learnings. So where was I in this? So my company is Midcat Advisory. Oh, that's the logo. I'll get a little bigger. Wearing company t-shirt. Just completed 10 years. So we're into security and risk consultancy. Business was doing well as of March. So I'm just fast forward to around 5th of March. We had about 100 security audits in India. We had won a big contract for a pan-Asia audit for data centers for a large global bank. So we had good about, people to visit about 20 countries. Training, there is a lot of demand for women's safety training. We are the leaders in India in that. We have a team of 20 people, and they used to take 2-3 sessions a day, 4-5 days. Everybody gets serious about women's safety training during International Women's Day. So there were lots and lots of demand. Similarly, cybersecurity training, we had worked very hard with CDT to build a module around cybersecurity training. So there was a lot of demand for consulting, training, advisory in business, and then COVID happened. All on-site activities, just within 1 week, everything started kind of crumbling. And we were also in a state of shock like others for about a week, hoping it will go away, and then had a brainstorming session. And then like many others, I'll just say the major points. So first point was that conserve cash and separate good and bad costs. So, and then one of the major things, so we cut down on infra and, other things, but we decided to invest in technology. So that was a good decision. And second was ensure business continuity. Third was ensure the safety of own customers and colleagues. And finally, the big idea was, I think, innovation, that continued thing on thrust on digital transformation platforms. And by then I had also read Jasprit Bindra's book. And at the end of the, my next 2-3 minutes, Jasprit would be very happy that we have embraced all his advice, and we have become asset light and data heavy and algorithmically inspired company. So what we did, we realized that firstly, companies with 4-5 things we realized that the customer demand is not going away. There'll be a little bit of shift, but it's not dead. Demand is there. So there was demand for high quality intel. So we started investing in intelligence platform. Okay, so we had some kind of a small platform, basic platform, but we really kind of boosted it and built it. And people wanted a lot of COVID related things. So we built a COVID related platform. So Intel, actually, the business grew about 20-25% during this crisis time. For security, safety and all, we used the time to build apps. And we started kind of, a lot of work used to be on site. So we actually built a security app, a fire safety app, a COVID app. So built 3-4 apps. So training also, all training moved online. So like cybersecurity, we used to have once in 3 months, we moved to every month online. We started doing, we built a new kind of things, resiliency training, there was demand. So we looked at new models. We also realized that data is the new bloodline. If you see from history, you would say that Nokia became a great company when it moved from plastic to a data company. And Reliance became an even greater company when it moved from the old oil to the new oil, from the petrochemicals to the geo model. Okay. So we realized that a lot of data centers are being built and all. So we started doing a lot of work in that TVRA of data centers, audits of data centers, and a lot of command and control centers also demand was going. So new segments, new kind of demand. So what I'm saying is that, and finally one great trend we realized that I had been wanting to push all this innovation and all, and then largely inspired by the work that CDT is doing. I had heard people like Feroz and many other, people at the DX summits and all. I wanted to push, but there was a lot of pushback. But the moment COVID happened and this happened, everybody kind of fell in line and people didn't have enough work. And so crisis times, I can say with huge amount of confidence that there are great opportunities for pushing innovation because there is much leisure. Happy to report that no one was laid off in my company except for top five of us at senior levels. Everybody else got increments, and then we also hope to get. So my advice to friends in MSME is that have a close look at customer centricity. I told my team this is not the time to sell. This is the time to serve. Customer fundamental needs have not evaporated. We just need to pivot or align to the shifting needs, and method of delivery has changed. So that has to be a technology will become a major driver of the delivery of services. So agility, change and innovation have to become a part of organizational culture and DNA, because when times are good, even donkeys look like horses. Okay. It's only when, times are bad and crisis times that it takes a crisis for leaders to shine. So friends in SME, we should not become Indian SME should not be synonymous with small and traditional. We should be innovative, we should be agile, we should be transformative, embrace digital transformation. Wait and watch is a non-starter. Hope is no strategy. The future will favor the nimble and the agile. Those who do not embrace the change or those who resist, the march of technology will be confined to dustbins of history. So this crisis provides us a great opportunity for leap forward. Let us not waste the crisis. Digital transformation is the idea whose time has come. So I must compliment CDT, Tata Communications, Dell, the patrons, Suhail Zaidi and team for doing an amazing work in catalyzing digital transformation. Last word, DX is not about technology alone, as was brought out. It's as much about the customer. Always keep customer at the center. It's as much about your business strategy, marketing, delivery, people, and most importantly, people and organizational culture. So let's not waste the crisis. Back to you, Feroz.
Okay, thanks. So good to hear from you, Sam. And in fact, you brought in a very right analogy. In fact, I loved your example of the World War which you gave and the SARS which you gave, the opportunity which comes for different organization name which you spoke about. And then you even spoke about the diversity part, which was very good, mind-boggling. End thing what I heard from you, and which is a good takeaway for the other MSMEs, is this: that yes, innovation, change, operating model, these are very, very important, and this is going to keep you afloat. So very, very good inputs given by you. Thanks, Sam. Let me go to Jaspreet. Jaspreet, you heard Sam talking about so many challenges, and how is it that he even found an opportunity within those challenges. And since you are one of the thought leader in this topic, so digital is your bread and butter. You have authored books on the subject. You have led roles related to this. So I want to understand from you, Jaspreet, is this: what are the barriers and the challenges of adoption of the digital transformation in MSME? Because we talk about good part, we talk about the benefits, but then let's hear from you that what do you think would the real challenges and the barriers, which obviously people should get geared to solve that. So yeah, Jaspreet, would love to hear your views.
Thank you very much, Feroz, and thank you, Sam, for reading my book and talking about it. Feroz, I have largely worked in large corporations. However, for the past 2.5 years, I run my own very small SME. Okay, and so and with all the learnings and the thoughts that you spoke of, I've had the opportunity, therefore, to see what of the things that probably apply in large corporations apply or do not apply in SMEs, especially as far as digital and digital transformation goes. Couple of things before I come to the challenges very quickly. Number one, I think we need to differentiate between digital transformation and digitization. We usually think of them as the same thing, but digitization is an existing process. You modify it and you use digital tools, etc., and make it faster, cheaper, more efficient, and so it's much more inside out. It's linear, it's predictable ROIs, etc. Digital transformation comes from the other side. Customer has changed, And so it's outside in. And so you need to change your business models, etc., to meet these new needs using digital tools, technologies. Much more difficult outside in, customer centric, no predictable ROIs, much more right brain rather than left brain, creative, and much more difficult in many ways. Many times we use these words interchangeably, they are not the same thing. Each of these is important, each of these has different needs and opportunities associated with it. So that's number one. Number two is I usually think of three things for those who have read my book when I think of digital transformation. And those are business models, which Sam also spoke about, the underlying business model and how you can rapidly evolve business models to meet new needs of customers or new customers. Second is customer journeys and customer experience, and how customers are rapidly, especially with COVID, our entire customer journeys have changed across the board, and how fast and nimble you are to meet those customer journeys. And finally, the most important one is people and culture. Now, if we kind of take these three things and come to SMEs and also keeping the digitization and digital transformation, I think there are lots of challenges as expected, but each challenge actually throws up a bit of an opportunity also. Let us not forget that COVID itself has been a bit like a Darwinian moment. Okay, and it's not going to be the fittest of the SMEs which will survive, but it will be the one which will be the most adaptable, like the species that Darwin spoke about. So maybe I'll just restrict myself to three or four things in terms of number one challenge for all digital transformations across the board, across countries, across sectors, across sizes is company culture. And company culture always flows top down. Now, here it's a challenge for large corporates as well as SMEs aside. Digital transformation, digital is a state of mind. Digital transformation happens in your head, not anywhere else. And that's where it mostly fails. And SMEs, that's the number one challenge. But the opportunity is that for an SME, small, owner-driven, to change culture or to adapt to new things is much easier than for a large corporation. And so challenge as well as opportunity. Second is obviously capital. Whenever you want to do new things, you need money. Easier for larger corporations, much more difficult for SMEs. On the other hand, that's where technology helps. Today, technologies and the business models around technologies are much more cheaper, POC, proof of concept and minimum viable product driven. You can very rapidly experiment, rapidly iterate at very low cost. And so while that's a challenge, if you kind of do it in the right way, it can be, you can kind of do it with much less money, whether digitization or digital transformation. Third thing, people, skilled people, difficult for an SME to hire. The gentleman in the earlier panel said it very right. You don't need only technical people, okay, or you need people who have the right attitude, and so, I, for example, I'm very, 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 very keen to hire quote unquote failed entrepreneurs, okay, because it's not the entrepreneur who fails, it's the company which has failed, okay, and the entrepreneur actually is much more driven to success, etc. And so you can get the right people if you don't look for a corporate style job description, etc., etc. But it remains a challenge. And then finally is that you kind of decide what to digitize and what to transform, or which and when to do. And I think very rapidly we will need to use some simple RPA kind of tools which SMEs can use at a very low cost to reduce cost, but at the same time look at how some of the business models and the ways of delivery and the ways of serving can be changed very rapidly, which they can do because they're nimble to meet the new customer journey. So I think I will stop here. I can go until tomorrow morning, but back to you, Feroz.
No, thanks, Jasprit. Wonderful hearing you. And in fact, although I have not read your book, but I'll make it a point that definitely I'll buy one and read it. I'm also very passionate about the digital side of it. Now, one thing, yes, sir, I totally agree with your views that very in a easy term, you have segregated and classified and make others understood that there's a difference between a digital transformation and digitization. And yes, I still feel like that most of the people, they don't understand this difference, and there's a myth which thinks like digitization and digital both are same thing. So very rightly said, and I'm sure the audience will get benefited from this. And the other most important thing which you brought in is the ensuring that customer centricity, which is important because that's the nervous system of the full process. And end of the day, we have to make sure that the business is alive, the business is running, and it's profitable. So very, very rightly said. Let me go to Shrikant. Shrikant, you heard Jasprit, and very, in an apt way, he did classify the difference which exists between the digitization and the digital. Since you come from a healthcare vertical, and in healthcare, the work which you do, that's largely dependent upon the process management. It's dependent upon the true digital world. So your entire work is a true digital model. Now, I would like you to advise that what advice would you like to give to your fellow MSMEs who are trying to shift and move their business to a total online business, digital technologies. So since you do this totally online, and this is a classical example, so definitely I would like your brains to be used, or your ideas to be leveraged by others who want to move into a more digital world. So what advice would you give?
Thank you. Thank you, Feroz and Digital CI for this opportunity. Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Great. So good evening once again to all of you and all the panelists. I'm Shrikant, representing the healthcare business of Alico. Before we deep dive into this topic, I just want to set a context as to how our business has been transformed. So basically, we started our company in '99, the healthcare business, and we have been primarily focusing on the maximizing the financial collections, end-to-end patient healthcare documentation, revenue cycle management services, revenue optimizations for private hospitals, physician practices, emergency services. Like this, we can keep telling about it. For most of the work has been for the offshore markets like US, Canada, UK, UAE. So as you understand, this is one of the very sensitive area where we need to really put a lot of effort in terms of HIPAA compliance, PHI compliance. So there are different acts to be followed in place. So not only we operate from Hyderabad, we also operate from two other centers, which is Chennai and Mysore. And how exactly we have taken care of all these three facilities. When this pandemic struck, every company, I believe, had their own set of challenges to address and have defined their own strategies to emerge as a winner. And we as an organization also has tried to maneuver through this and try to sustain our business. We try to grow a business. So when this pandemic struck, our primary focus was on employees. Employees was because this is the main part where we in the entire ecosystem is very important. And how do we ensure that sustenance is very important? So we believe and continue to believe that if we take care of the employees, we will be able to take care of the business. So this will definitely lead to the business continuity, and ultimately the organization will be taken care. So we worked on the theory of change, like while impressing on the retaining the corporate culture and sustaining our business by keeping the digital strategy in mind. At all levels of leadership, this was thoroughly imbibed and discussed. We discussed thoroughly with the entire levels of leadership. So workforce empowerment was one of the important things which we wanted to bring in. So we have done the awareness among the team members while shifting ourselves from the physical workspace. As you see that when we are talking about the healthcare industry, we are confined to four walls, basically because of the HIPAA guidelines, the PHI compliance. So there are a lot of things which we need to take care. So we have to shift ourselves to the online digital mode. Previously, we had certain portions of the volume, or I can say a little experimentation was done, but moving completely 100% is definitely very much important. So we built and introduced certain small tools into our workflow management, which were adopted by the team to align with the new work culture. We brought in an agile atmosphere in our system, like due to urgency, wherein the collaboration happened across all the departments and teams to make the entire workforce shift towards the digital mode of the work. While providing digital options of working from home with the flexibility, we had to introduce certain strict adherence ethical policies for meeting the client deadlines, because as you see, this business is very, very strategic in terms of like at the end of the day, we have to meet the client deadlines, meet the turnaround time. So it is every day the business is very critical, volatile. So we had to make a lot of process automation. The next important thing was the technology part. Like how do we integrate our technology? So we have worked with our technology partners already who are associated with and integrated our remote operations while adhering to all these information security guidelines. Because we being an information security management certified organization, we had to make sure that we protect our assets. We had to protect the data privacy. We had to uphold the integrity of the company's image against any kind of threat. So the cyber security, as we see right now, the cyber security is one of the important things. So what exactly our human resources have done, like we redefined and established the entire work from home policy for the entire workforce in coordination with the operations team and IT team. We have defined a 60-page COVID manual, which was distributed across the organization to make sure that what they should be doing and what they should not be doing during this pandemic time, and along with creating a forum for providing the much needed counseling services to our employees through our panel doctors for physical, emotional, or mental well-being of our employees. Our in-house system was progressed to open mode. Like initially it was confined to the in-house requirements, but we have actually made it to open mode to make it more accessible and transparent for the team. We were fortunate that while keeping the entire team intact, as Sam was mentioning, during this pandemic, we have not laid out a single employee. Like 100% of employees were retained with us, and at the same time, we were able to recruit the new candidates because the requirements coming from the clients. So we had to recruit new candidates, and the beauty of the entire process, like we have completed the entire selection process of each candidate in the 72 hours. In 72 hours, and we have given the offer letters to them. So it was a record in itself. We were trying to make sure that everything falls in place while we are trying to do so that the candidates don't wait for a long time during this pandemic. And other part is how to onboard it. Like digital onboarding, definitely there are challenges in place. So that was something impeccable which we have done at our end in terms of the digital onboarding of the newly recruited candidates. So major part when it comes to the IT, they have played a crucial role in creating awareness, like security awareness across all the team members in terms of information security management, and at the same time how do we manage the infrastructure while they're working remotely. And we used all the secure login procedures like VPN technologies to make sure that they log into the in-house systems and then try to work. So at the same time, being in healthcare business, we cannot actually have the team working on their own personal systems. So we had to transport the office-based systems across all the team members. Like we have about close to 800 employees across all the facilities. So we had to transport all the systems to their homes in 24 to 48 hours, which was unbelievable kind of task which we have done it. So we have adopted certain new technologies for remote monitoring of systems. Like when the team is working remotely, so IT has developed or they have tried to integrate certain monitoring systems into our organization, wherein we were trying to keep a check on the health of the system while with the regular updates with the enhanced 24/7 support. So while we were working on all these aspects together, clients have been very appreciative about our work during this pandemic, as we have met and exceeded the SLAs in spite of all the challenges. To make them more confident, to make the clients more confident, what we have done is we have tried to diversify the processes, and we have tried to introduce certain dashboards which we have provided the daily, weekly, and monthly trends. Like we have tried to make it more digitized. Like usually we see the end of the reports and we have different kind of dashboards, but we are trying to we have taken the client to a engagement to a next level, wherein we try to provide them all kind of trends to make sure that they're confident what we are trying to do. At the same time, the most important thing what we have done in our business is like we initiated the monthly calls with the clients, monthly video conference calls with the clients, when the clients had an opportunity to talk to the base level associates. Usually in any of the companies, the base level associates will not get an opportunity to talk to the client. So the clients could get an opportunity to talk to the base level associates. And then this was a big success as a client was more confident as to what we are doing for the clients as well as employees of the organization. So apart from this, flexible work hours were provided to the team, which has resulted in the early turnaround times. And this ultimately, I can say this has led to a better client satisfaction. And some of the aspects which we have done during this digital engagement towards the digital engagement, like basically providing the employee engagement and then publishing these kind of employee engagements over our social websites. We were trying to revamp our websites to show that what is the different engagements we are trying to do during the COVID time. On our website, we were publishing that. We are trying to publish new products and service lines which we are trying to deliver. Like we have developed certain tools during this time in a span of 6 to 9 months time, like dictation platforms and then the documentation platforms. So we were trying to introduce those things to the customers. At the same time, we were trying to build a new business profiles. Email marketing was one of the important things which we are continuing to do it. We were conducting certain webinars on the healthcare and business updates. Like we are during next week, we are also conducting some more webinars wherein we are trying to give that kind of confidence to the customer that we are in the business and we are trying to take care of you. So there are a lot of things like this which we have done along with publishing some healthcare articles. So and engaging the CSR activities in line with the organization culture. So these are all some of the things which we have done in the last, I can say 7 to 8 months time, which has brought in a lot of change overall. I can say, as Sam was mentioning and just mentioning, not moving digitally, but we have sustained our business. We have tried to sustain our business and ensure that we have grown in the last 6 to 7 months by certain percentages, which was really amazing for us.
Thanks, Shrikant. And it's evident that one major area wherein you focus as a part of the digital transformation lever is the operating model, because you highlighted about the workforce management and how did it you ensured that the workforce or the team is there, they're intact, their learning is there, and then there's no no firing which you did during this tough time. And also operating model is important, and I say like this, that it's one of the pillar for the the transformation lever, because obviously you need to ensure the talent and the skill, and that's what you did it very well. In fact, you did highlighted multiple times about the way how did you manage the the work in the remote area, how did you manage the different connectivity and the conferences and all. So very, very insightful. Let me now go to Neeraj Shukla. Neeraj, I know that your company does work related to consulting and the managed services, and I want to rope in you because I am sure you would have heard Shrikant. He is talking about the work from home, the the conferences, the workforce enablement piece during the COVID. And since your company does this work and provides services and product, so I want to hear from you, which goes very close to what Shrikant is mentioning, that how do you ensure the the delivery of the enhanced customer experience, making sure that your profitability does not dips, because we can be very fancy in terms of the customer experience, but then if it is not profitable specifically for the MSME, it does not help. So how do you ensure that you deliver that experience also at the same time it's profitable? So would like to hear from you, Neeraj.
Thanks, Feroz. In fact, this has been a lovely topic, which I would really want to speak on, because most of the customer, when the lockdown kicked in during the March, it was like a kind of, no one knows that, after the 14 days, what is the kind of a story, which is going to be coming up. And with the cases surging up and no direction, people were kind of confused. And when I was in touch with most of my customers, they're saying that they are investing more on employee training because it's going to be opening up. But with the second lockdown getting announced, there was people have really started thinking towards the business side of it, instead of saying that only trainings are happening and all that. And this was a wonderful time for us to really foresee and forecast as what are the challenges which most of the organization and our clientele base are going to be seeing this. And we've actually prepared case studies on it. In fact, the first thing what we did was that we were also got caught in the same issue as when we were actually trying to implement work from home. So we have faced a certain level of difficulties having some platforms which was not available for us to work as it was hosted out of office and all that. So the first thing what we did was we actually made our infrastructure go and in a secured manner to be accessible to our employees. And then we have gone through the complete process. Instead of doing the product trainings, we've gone through the whole change of bringing the process within our organization into different locations to make sure that we learn it first. This has any which way given us the edge to move much faster than others. and also understand, towards, what will be the story, with the customers. Knowing the customer's business line, we've actually created the documents and started circulating with the customer, saying that, this is what, we can do together, and, the business can continue. With this, customers in any which way, was looking at it, but, the larger question, most of the customer was still having that, making this kind of an investment, how profitable it is going to be. And then we have reached out to the leadership team and we have told, look, here is a business plan. Understanding the business plan was the most important thing with the ROIs, right? So we've actually told them that, there are a lot of models which are available in market, how you can deploy. People always feel that, these technologies comes very heavy on a cost, and, the larger enterprises will be able to accommodate. But I really wanted to tell that, every MSME or any small organization also, in case if they have that mindset, it was told time and again that it is more of a mindset. In case if the mindset is there, the technology can be availed, and the technologies are available on a different. The only thing what it is needed is a right person who can consult you, probably who can advise you and who can guide, to take this forward. Now I would want to, so since, we were the first one, we made our changes within our organization, and then we've learned that, what are the things, and we've also, so I just wanted to take two examples quickly. As one of the customer was towards the banking, they work very closely with the banking, and, they had a difficulty of a hybrid infrastructure between cloud and in-house, which they wanted to be, accessed very, very securely, and they were restricting these accesses, saying that, in case if my team doesn't work, it is okay, but, my client should not get annoyed. So, we've created the complete workflow and, handed it over to them with the proper securities, where, we really talked about a DLPs and all that in place. A DLP is a very, very wide topic, so we will not get into it, because it covers a lot. People can have a different, definitions to this. Then we had another customer whose story was quite interesting, and, I would take little more, go a little more deep down on speaking about this. They actually, used to work on those contents of this entertainment industry or movie industries and all that. And, the customer based out of US, they say that, the content is very, very, it has to be, dealt very securely and secure, and they do not want the content to be, leaked out. Now, if you are not prepared and, you want the people to access it from home, of course, there is a threat of, having it. So, they were not able to work, and, they were completely on a situation where, they do not know as how to move. And customers' biggest difficulty was, they were actually caught up of deploying the technology which customer was asking. When we have connected with them, saying that, because this content has to go to OTT platforms and entertainment platforms. So we spoke to them and we said, see, it's not only the platform, not only the way how you can actually deploy this, you can still achieve, probably out of 10, you can still achieve around 9 of these, maybe just because of a one. You should not lose the business. I think, you should go and talk to the customer. While speaking to the customer, they could not really, strike the chords. And then we said, why can't we talk to the customer and you introduce us? When they introduced, we could really convince a customer to say that, this is a framework, how you should go for, giving them the complete understanding. And also, we have told our customer to, talk to the end customer, saying that, in case if you want the 10th one to be accommodated, maybe, please bear with us for a couple of days. With these a quarter going, we will be able to accommodate. And, when with these changes and with these changes getting deployed and the customer's business continue to go, the best thing, the customer was very, very happy. A, the business has started, hence the profitability has started, and B, he was really happy to keep everyone's earning live. That was his I think, larger agenda, and he was very, very happy to achieve it. So I see that, in case if we digitally transform ourselves, from working in a different scenarios. Pandemic is probably one of the turbulence which we have seen. In case if, we prepare ourselves, I think, with the business continue to grow and continue to cater to the customers, it certainly gives you evolved profitabilities.
Yeah, no, very good. So, I mean, this is what should be the mantra, that you ensure customer centricity, customer experience. At the same time, it has to be profitable, because business has to be profitable. And it's good to hear that. How did you balance it off? Let me go to another Neeraj. So one Neeraj to other Neeraj. So Neeraj, Hans, I want to hear from you, and you heard the other Neeraj, that how did he balance the customer experience and the profitability. Since I'm sure you will agree with me, Neeraj, that banking and automobiles are the two sectors which has really outpaced other industry vertical in terms of the the digitalization or the digitization. Automotive is one of the core pillar, because if you see the dependency on the auto OEM, it's very high. Want to hear your perspective, that what do you think are the benefits of digitalization and digitization in MSME parlance? Because for big industries, for a big auto OEMs, yes, it's a no-brainer. But when it comes to industry like yours, which is a small and medium industry, or your peer industry, how do you see that the benefits come specifically when we talk about the digitalization or the digitization piece? Yeah, Neeraj.
Thank you, Firoj. I'm audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, first of all, to you and CII for arranging this platform, for sharing our thoughts here. Now, I think all of you have spoken already. My job is a bit easier now. Whatever I wanted to say, all of you have said already. So for me, what I can say that I agree with all of you. Nevertheless, coming to the point, actually, I'll just start with a small story here, point here. There was a temple where this Havana was happening. All the people, used to sit around this, Kund, Havan Kund, and they used to do Havana. One small day, one cat came around and started disturbing everybody. So they were quite disturbed how to do Havan now. So one of them, the head priest, signed on the junior person that managed this cat. So he took one rope, tied the neck of the cat with one side, and on the other side he tied the rope with the pillar. So this is how they were able to do Havan. So every day it used to happen. Cat used to jump in, and they used the same process again and again. They were able to do it. In the process, junior changed, even head priest also changed. New priest came, process was same. But one fine day, the cat died. Everybody was confused now. What is to be done now? So those smart people thought, and then what they decided was they brought a new cat. So this is a process, industries have been going through. In the past so many years, till the time we face ourselves all the critical times, not possible for us to get out of this mindset. So here the cat basically, I take it like a mindset which we all used to have it. Now the COVID has actually pushed all of us towards the corner or towards the wall to think about it, that we don't need no more cat. So we need to think differently now. I think all of us have done in that way only. Coming to Sandhar, we are basically, small component industry with almost 40 plants all over India also, and we are also in Spain, Poland, and Mexico, catering to almost every customer in India: two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, tractor, truck, you name any, and we are there with almost 8,000 people and 40 locations all over. Now, coming to digitization or digitalization, as you said rightly, Firuz, this is not the thing which any customer demands from you. No customer definitely will come to you or come to me that, okay, look, I need your product or I need your services through digitalization. So how I see it, or how our company sees it, is that something to do on our own. And very rightly, Jaspreet also said, you also said that any culture, it's a cultural change. It starts from top. We have to think in that direction, and this is what we also did without any customer approaching us or all. Because what we assumed, what we thought about digitalization is something like, this is something which is going to help your bottom line. And many times whenever I go and I speak, question comes, what is the ROI you faced, and something like that, everybody will start digitalization with ROI. What is the ROI on that? So my take on that and my answer to that is, this is not about ROI. This is about survival. And very rightly said that Darwin, that who is going to adapt the market is going to be, surviving in that business. People, if don't do it now, they will never be able to do that in future, according to me. Now, coming to how we did it, that because we are into manufacturing industry, we have to physically make the products in our plants. So for me, it's not possible to work from home to manage my digitalization. We bifurcated the entire gamut of manufacturing into three things. One was, for me, was material track and trace. Second was connecting all the machines together. Third is the overall connectivity, smart manufacturing, what we call it Sandhar Smart, S Smart. So what we did was that we connected all the machines together with all Industry 4.0 concept I'm talking here. Now through that I was able to see all the data for my machines running, not running, from which slot to which slot not running, how much current machines are drawing, whether there is a vibration level or not. So my purpose was, because it's all about 4M or 5M, people call it also. So for me, my point was that to ensure my all 4Ms intact in this critical era where man was an issue for me, because a lot of people moved from one place to other place in this past period. Material arrangement was an issue from tier 2. Machines running was an issue for us. Luckily, we had started all these concepts almost a year and a half back prior to starting COVID. So we were able to track our materials through our supplier base. If I am tier 1 supporting some OEM, so my tier 2 will be definitely somebody who will be called of a SME or maybe around that, right? So my commitment to my OEM is, yes, if I commit something, I have to respect it. Tier 2 also have to respect it, but the resources, sometimes avoid to make them to keep their promises and all. So what we did was that we connected all our supplier to tier 2 with all digital meetings and all. Maybe a year and a half back, or also digital meetings were there, but that was kind of a option which we used to think, or tough sort of a thing, how I have to connect with all the people. Today, we are able to do it just a click away. I was facing some problem, then Himanshu told me that why don't you come on mobile? Immediately I downloaded app and I am here through mobile also. When there is a requirement, it's all need based. So what my message to my teams is always is that whenever you have an issue, we have to identify our own issues within our organizations, and we have to find out a digital solutions for that issue. That's a basic mantra with which we have been working in the last 1.5 years. And surprisingly, I gave this responsibility to my GETs, the people who were recruited last year in September, October. And that team of GETs, 7-8 people of GETs, they did miracles for us. And all the people, came with the new ideas, different ideas, how to convert it to whether quality issue, productivity issue, or your machine maintenance issue. Everything we converted to that thing. So digitization basically was a mantra for us.
Okay.
So this is how we are carrying along, and we are part of
it. Great. I mean, it's rarely that you hear from SMEs that they would have done Industry 4.0, and I'm so glad to hear from you that at least you have ventured this, which is a very unique way of doing a digital transformation, that too for your industry vertical, which is very important. So let me go to Avanish and want to hear why, because he also comes from an industrial background. He also comes from an industry which deals into thermoplastic, PVCs, polymers, and all. And as Neeraj, you spoke about that Industry 4.0 really transformed your industry, which is doing not only for the sake of digitalization, but really ensuring that how do you do a connected enterprise, how do you make sure that your machines are connected, how do you make sure that your products are traced and all. So let me hear from Avanish that what have you done. So you heard Neeraj, now I want to hear from you from the same background, that what have you done, what all technologies or emerging tech did you use, and then most importantly want to hear that what benefit did you get for the organization. Yeah, Avanish.
Okay. Thank you, Firozji, and thanks to all the respective panelists. And even I think most of already my colleagues said they have covered all the topics, right? And basically, I'm coming to the subject line, which is like the never waste a crisis, right? In some other terms, we used to say that necessity is the mother of invention, right? Even I'm very much influenced by the Sam, what the 2-3 stories he has said, that how the things has happened. I will take a latest example for our country, India, right? Who has thought that within 45 days, India will be the second largest manufacturer for the COVID items? Before that, you see how the things were coming. That's what, when the crisis was there, then everybody has evolved the things. And now, we have to find out a way how to do it. Coming to my industry in a cut short, what we did, because basically we used to deal in both the segment. We used to deal in the B2B and B2C, both the segment. Like in the B2C, we are the building material providers. Like our brand name is the Encraft India. We are the India's prominent manufacturer for the UPVC doors and windows. And we used to deal in the India, SAARC countries. Then even we do the export as well. And the second in the business where we used to do that is the white goods. Like we are catering proudly, I can say that we are catering the 70% of the Indian market share for the refrigerator magnetic door gasket. You may take any name like the Godrej, Samsung, Videocon, Panasonic, Haier, Electrolux, any, even we do the exports also. I will cover the story for this, what we did and how we did. Basically, you see in the real estate, because you know in the real estate now, basically everywhere the people's health and safety comes on the paramount now for us and everyone. Then how we focus the digital platform and everything is starting from our customer database, is starting from the lead generation. Although we are a tech savvy company from a long time back, even we have implemented the CRM, ERPM a long time back also. But here, what was the best? The part was that before COVID, everybody would like to come to the experience center on our Pan India base just to have a touch and feel of the products. Now, you know, nobody want to come out from the house. And the second part was that still the customer need was there in the market. Just only we need to channelize ourselves how we are going to do it. We had developed a very good platform for the VR virtual showroom and the experience to even we have here the DIY also, do it yourself. Even the people can go there, they can have a touch and feel. Then coming to the another part, that was the product demonstration. For that, our team needs to go to the individual house to do the demonstration. Here also we have come up one step ahead and we have developed the AR augmented reality. Even there is no need, just simply after talking to the architect, developer, or after talking to the business, the house owners, the team is arranging fixing a schedule with them, and accordingly even they can touch and feel in their home cavity how the things are going on. And by doing this, you know, during this, by my B2B business, I will cover later. Here, what is our learning? What we thought that basically, see, during this COVID, there was a factor which was missing everywhere. That was a trust. Employee to employer, customer to supplier, supplier to customer. And that's what we had tried to retain the same. And very proudly, I can say that even after COVID, we had break down all our records of the past 11 years of the sale, and month we are growing. July, we had break the history of the past 11 years. Then August, we break the July. Then September was a milestone. Then again, October was there. And everybody knows that in how the real estate shape is going on. Here, just when the things are there, we just only what we believe: the speed, innovation, skill, scale, and heart-to-heart relationship with the partners. Similar way, coming to our this B2B segment, here we are tech savvy. A lot of the digital platform, even before COVID itself. But what we got it like as of now, what we believe as a MSME, where we are struggling for the high operational cost. And second thing is the unknown efficiency issues, which were not known. Why not known? Because there is a lack of live data, and if the live data is not there, then the live analysis is also not there. After implementing all this, even this was not implemented there, it was implemented around a year back. What the benefit we had got it, like always we used to see that as per our operational efficiency, like that our efficiency level is something like that 100% optimum. But when we implemented all these things, then we realized, oh my God, our OEE was, that is the operational equipment efficiency, that was 57%. And by implementing this, we had increased to the around, now we are working at a 72% of the OEE. Similar way, like a lot of the power fluctuations was there, which we are unable to control. And now just by putting all the line filters and everything, now even our power factor and everything has been improved. And there we are also saved around 25%. And very proudly, I can also say during this pandemic, we are also managing around 12 plants across the country. Even none of the people, every people, we have retained the people. There is an increment also. And if I talk the previous month in my both the business, in my B2B business, we have grown by the more than 62% as compared to the previous year similar month. And if you talk our real estate business, here we have grown by around 26%. Then my message to all my friends for the MSME is that firstly, we need to look at what is the area where we need to adopt, because firstly, we need to know where is the area. And the second thing, no doubt, customer demand is there. We have to meet with the customer. We have to align to them to make the trust and build the trust with them. And trust us, friend, this is the time, like as I said, necessity is the mother of invention, and we can do the miracle. That's what from my side.
Thanks, Anish, and wonderful. Like you also stress upon the innovation, which I liked it, because when we talk about Industry 4.0 or when we talk about any digital transformation, yes, innovation is one of the things which is a starting position, or it's a baseline. So before I wrap up this session, in interest of time, let me summarize this, because we all heard each other, the panel members, we heard different stories. And what the key takeaway comes out is this, that when we talk about digital transformation, specifically in MSME parlance, it's not about technology. So it's about various things. Yeah, technology is one of the components which acts as an enabler. That's what we heard when we heard Neeraj talk about, we heard Sam, Sam, talk about. So we know that yes, it's one of the enabler. But then the most important other things which came to light is this, that beyond technology, if we see, it's a amalgamation of various other things like the new business model. So how do we generate synergies? Like Srikanth spoke about. So how do we really create synergies in this environment wherein we create a new business model altogether? It's even a ways of working on operating models. So that's also important. In fact, Neeraj Shukla spoke about that operating model is important, and that's how you enable that operating culture. Then only the true digital world gets emerged. And last but not the least, it's also a type of innovations and disruption which we bring to the table, which really leapfrogs the situation from the physical or traditional world to a digital world. So it's a mix of all those things. The most important thing which I want to highlight is this, that it's a myth that MSMEs do not adopt it. Yes, they may not be early movers, but at least there's a huge adoption which is already happening. And we all just heard that what all things which are happening in terms of the digital adoption, which is a good story. So I'll say that it's not only digitization, which Jaspreet was talking about. Even when it comes to digitalization, using the digital levers and all, yes, all of these MSMEs are doing well, and I'm sure the audience who would be listening, or the other MSMEs who would be listening, will take advantage of it and will take a clue from all these sessions that how they can leapfrog in terms of their starting position. So with that, in interest of time, let me wrap it up. And I truly thank all of you from my bottom of my heart to sparing time and to enlighten our participants and audience with your views, and I'm sure people will get benefited of it. So thanks for being my esteemed panel member.